Okay, I think we'll start. Thanks everyone for dialing in. So today's webinar topic is how to optimize your cash savings for better return and passive income. It'll be conducted in English. So we'll do a quick agenda. So we'll go through about Syfe, interest rate regime, then how do you set your goals for cash savings. We'll do then a quick case study and then open up for questionnaires. All right. Okay, so first a quick round of introduction. So I'm Archit Parak. So I head the investments for Hong Kong, and I'm also the group head of risk for Syfe. Prior to joining Syfe, I was the head of fund derivatives and QIS trading at UBS. Spent there a long time, and then now Syfe. Morten.
Yeah. Let me introduce myself. I guess most of the client will know. We talk I have talked to some of the client before. My name is Morton, the investment advisor lead in Hong Kong. And yeah, for some of my background, I have plenty of experience in taking care of different kinds of high net worth clients from my job before in international banks and also some international brokerage. Hope today we can have a good speech to all of you and then can give you some investment angle for you to consider through Syfe. Yeah.
All right. And I think we'll keep this session interactive. So feel free to raise questions even during the session, if you have any. Okay, so Syfe, who are we? So Syfe is a Singapore headquartered firm. We started in 2019. We are licensed under MAS as well as then SFC. The vision of the company is to build the next generation wealth management solution for everyone. How we want to call it out is basically we are here to provide like 3 A's, like access, advice, and affordability. In a smart digital way. We had a we're proud of the rapid journey that we have had so far. As mentioned, started in 2019, so more than 4 years ago now. Raised close to 50 million US in couple of funding rounds. We started as a firm, a pure wealth management offering in Singapore. Then expanded and made it a very holistic offering, including launching the Syfe trade like early last year, giving one-stop solution to investors where if you want to park your money with us in our wealth management products, or if you want to trade yourself, you have both options. Then subsequently, we launched Hong Kong and Australia. So Hong Kong was our first offshore market, and Australia within a span of a couple of months. And then recently in Hong Kong, we launched the Income Plus as well. Like, I mean, needless to say, I think we are very proud of some of the awards that we have gained over last few years. The ones here are the most recent ones, like and two key ones to flag is like I think very recently we got the Wealth Tech Asia Wealth Tech of the Year, and at the same time like Personal Finance Tech of the Year. I mean, this just shows or testifies the credibility of the firm, and also kind of makes us going and makes us proud that we are on the right path and valued by the customers. Means one another testimony of how well we are doing is like across the firm we are trusted by more than 100,000 investors. I mean, again, this is a great landmark and success for us, and living the mission of like empowering people to build their wealth. So this number is actually a bit old, but it's definitely on a very strong path, and we are one of the fastest growing in the region. Like we were late, or the last one probably amongst the bigger ones to launch, but reach this milestone quicker than anyone else. Just to give a snapshot of our team, we have a pretty wide bench, like close to 120 people across. You can see like pretty strong investment firms, UBS, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Citi. But at the same time, I think we have pretty strong marketing background people from Lazard and PNG. So it kind of positions ourselves, and including our CMO, like it kind of positions ourselves to really live that fintech and build that fintech dream, having a right mix of background of people from both finance and e-commerce or technology. We are proudly supported by top global VCs like Vela Ventures. If not everyone knows, like it's backed by Peter Thiel, who has invested in PayPal, Facebook in early days. So from a Hong Kong perspective, yes, like as mentioned before, we are regulated by SFC. We have Type 149, all the relevant licenses for securities purposes. The assets that we custodize are with, again, tier one, like the cash that you put in with us is custodized with HSBC, completely segregated from any of Syfe's principal money. Then the invested assets like stocks, ETFs, funds are custodized with Interactive Brokers, HSBC, JP Morgan, depending on the underlying assets and geography. So again, like we're working with the best on the street, and this is like safety and regulatory regime is paramount for us, and we take it very, very seriously. Just a quick overview of our product suite. So how we have kind of built the entire wealth offering so far is like we want to see it in 3 buckets, like to solve for your cash management or savings needs, then your income needs, and then growth. So under cash management solution, we have our Cash Plus, which I think most of you may have seen it. It yields the net yield currently, like as of last month, is 5.56%. Again, like astonishing and compared to anything out there. Then under income solutions, which we launched like 2 months ago, we have 2 versions of it, what we call like pure and enhance, different risk, and we'll go through that in the later section. And then on the right we have the core and thematic portfolios. These are again growth oriented portfolios, more for longer term investments, and we believe like with this kind of offering, it kind of completes the product suite typically that an investor would need for cash, income, or growth oriented solutions. All right. Okay. So then, before we jump into the current interest rate regime, the first question that we want to put it. So assume you have considering like a 2-year holding period, would be great to understand currently in which asset class you have the highest exposure. Feel free to use the chat room to post your answers. And I think this will set the context for the next session. So will be great to have your answers. Maybe. Okay. Like we have got few answers, but maybe I think good to voice it out as well. I see Grace. Grace, do you want to share? It'll be good to make it as interactive as possible. So would love to hear, Grace. All right. Okay. Maybe Morten, where do you hold?
Yeah, for me, for over 2 years holding period, I would say I will for these 6 options, I will go for the fixed income to balance the safety and the risk, because we all as we will talk about it in the interest rate regime, the next section, and how we will about the whole different kinds of asset class, our view on different kinds of asset class, and how the market react, and then we can choose whatever asset according to the change in the market environment. So for me, I think fixed income is the one of the best solution. And also, besides that, if most some of the asset holdings on fixed income, the other is on global equities. As we will talk about the interest rate, maybe there is going to have a process in rate reduction in the next 2 to 3 years, expectation on that. So yeah, it would be good to have balance between the safety issue, safety option, and also some risk consideration. And yeah, maybe the option for me is 3 and 1. How about you, Archie?
Nice. Yeah, I think for me, it's I would say like I would probably divide greater than 2 years into like less than 5 years and more than 5 years. I think for less than 5 years, definitely like I think majority I would think about in current backdrop fixed income assets, and then greater than 5 year, I position that portfolio to be more equity heavy. In the longer term, I think to balance the inflation and have that growth element. Definitely for more longer term needs, I try to keep as much as possible in equities. Now, global equities versus local equities, I think I generally prefer to be more global in nature, then removes a bit of idiosyncratic risk related to a particular region or country. Okay, I think good. So that leads us to the next section.
Yeah, so yeah, we have shared about some of the asset class we wanted to hold for the next 2 years, 3 years. So it gives us some of the background why we have to choose like this on fixed income equities. There in this section, I think there will be some hints for you to know more about how we will about the market, and then how we can fully utilize the products in Syfe to capture the opportunity that the markets bring out in the coming future. The first one we have to see is the global inflation. I think it is very important for us to consider for our whole investment mix before for the next two to 3 years. As we can see from the chart, the headline inflation right now, actually for most of the developed country and also China, you can see it is going down, but only one country, Japan, is not has a very obvious coming down on the inflation. And as you see on the core inflation, the downward movement is much more obvious, I would say. And you can see, especially for the US CPI core inflation, it has already go down to 4.3% year on year. And this figure is actually lower than the Federal Reserve target rate, which is a very important consideration for us, because normally the Federal Reserve has stayed very clearly for this 6 months to 1 year. They want the rate, the target rate is uplift to a point that is higher than the core inflation, core CPI. If the rate is already higher than the core inflation, they will pause there and see how the effect of the rate on the overall inflation. So I think right now is at this point, at this moment, and it also implies that the rate high cycle may come to an end. And this is also showing one of the very important consideration from the Federal Reserve meeting last week. It is the Fed dot plot, which means most of the Federal Reserve voting members, how they will about the rate forecast for the coming years. As you can see, for the June 2023 meeting, their expectation on the rate is in 2023 is the same as that of September 2023. But for the next year, 2024, you can see that is the rate is goes up a bit from 4.6% to 5.1%, which means originally market forecast next year have 4 times rate reduction. If each time is 25 basis points, but right now is 5.1%. So right now the rate reduction expectation is only 2 times next year for each 25 basis point reduction. So the point is, right now we still in the long run we still will the Federal Reserve will have rate reduction in the next year, in the coming years, but may not be at a very fast pace in the short term. I would say it is one of the important clue we can come down from the Federal dot plot in September. And so, and also we can see from the interest rate future, which can be checked from the Fed meeting watch. What the chart is talking about is about the probability of the rate hike in November. Actually, right now the market is not really expecting, I would say, because over 70% of the chance that the rate hike is still on the same level, 5.25 to 5.5% target rate. Only 22% rate hike, 25 basis point expectation right now. So the signal is very clear, is that the rate high cycle is maybe come to an end, and the market actually not really believe on what Federal Reserve talking about in the last week on a very on a more hawkish statements than what people think about before the meeting. So maybe this year, I think in short term, the rate high maybe still 1 to 2 times, maybe it keeps change, but for the next year from dot plot, you can see the rate reduction is quite obvious. And we can also get this come to this conclusion from this 2024 rate cut expectation. As you can see, over 95%, I would say over 95% by the end of next year, there will be a rate reduction. As you can see from the table, under 5.2525 to 550 is meaning that next year we will have a rate reduction. And if you sum up all the figures there, it is over 95%. So it is quite obvious and quite a strong signal that next year we'll have a rate reduction, and over 70% will be more than 1 time, 2 times to 3 times, and then each time has a 25 basis points at least rate reduction. So how we can react to this market change environment, and how we can to invest our portfolio regarding to the change on this rate environment. We can talk more about it in the next 2 sections. But what the other question comes to our mind is actually for the first question, you have already think about what is your current investment mix right now, and at least I think most of the client here is holding some of the asset, maybe Hong Kong equities, global equities. But actually, are you satisfied with your current investment mix? If not, then in which asset class would you invest more or less? You can put the answer on the chat and let us know about what you think about it.
Okay, I'll also share my view, and then I think we go into the next session. So I think for personally for me, I think in the last year or so, have been sitting a lot on cash, which I think this year at least hasn't turned out to be a good outcome, and this is exactly the reason why we should stay invested. So for me, I think what less of cash, what more, something similar which I was sharing, probably invest back more into fixed income and equities, and stay invested, think about the long term, and not try to time things. Okay, cool. So we'll move to the next section. Yeah, which is the crux of it. Like, how do you set goals for your cash savings? How do you plan about it? How do you think about it? So we'll help you give some of our thoughts around it, and followed up with a case study as well. So generally, like how we think about like savings, income, and planning about these things is, I think we like to bucket it in three things. Like the cash that you need in the next 6 months, like call it now cash. The cash that you may need from 6 months onwards up to 2 year, the soon cash, and the cash that you need after that, beyond that, like more than 2 years, what's like what we want to call it, like later cash. So in the now cash bucket, obviously you have your general living expenses, rentals, child education fees on an ongoing basis, and an emergency fund that you still want to definitely keep a bit. In the soon cash, you have like special events that planned up, like a wedding, or a family trip. In the later cash, it's more about kind of slightly bigger cash flow requirements, like switching to a new flat, or having debentures for your child education, or child going to high school, or medical expenses that you may expect, and so on. So I think like obviously, like the shorter the duration that you need for your cash, the you should invest more into a lower risk product so that you have that certainty and liquidity when you need it. The longer the duration, you should allow to take more risk onto it, and ultimately which should help to kind of combat the current interest rate environment which Morten just went through, and high inflationary environment. Okay, so but I think this is the most important thing, like, and which exactly I was talking about my own case. I think beware of having too much in cash. And this I think I would say the last 12 years of inflationary regime is probably on the lower side, and this is getting a bit more on the higher side currently. Even in that lower inflationary regime environment, there has been a 40% increase, as you can see, in a McDonald's burger that used to cost $20 in 2021, now becomes 28. So this kind of, again, a good way to remind ourselves that like cash is something, or save in sitting on cash is something good for your shorter term needs, but if you sit on it for longer, it actually erodes in real value as the inflation continues to be on the rise. Okay, so the next question. How do you manage your cash currently? So I think like we have put 5 options there. Keep it in fixed deposits for shorter tenor, keep it in longer tenor fixed deposits, just keep it in bank savings account, or invest into money market funds or treasury bills. again, good to hear. And I think we have tried to unmute everyone. So feel free to unmute yourself and feel free to talk. I think we make it as interactive as possible. I think in the meanwhile, maybe Morten,
Yeah.
you want to share your view?
Yeah, sure. I think for managing cash currently, for me, actually, I'm a person not holding much cash on hand and invest most of the money out. So for most of the cash, some are in the money market fund, putting inside cash plus.
Good call.
Yeah, sure. This is I think it is the best option in Hong Kong for the money market fund in US dollar. So yeah, and I think some of the client here already know these products from us and through our course or our promotion. And some money I have put into the just bank saving account for the emergency fund, as what Ajay has talked about. For those soon cash option, maybe you have to manage it in a more flexible way. Because somehow you will have some emergency needs and you have to take money from those financial instruments as quick as possible. So it is I think it's 50% money on the money market fund right now, 50% of the cash on the bank saving account. Yeah. So how do you plan on the cash saving?
So I think
Jake?
for me, yeah, I think very similar. I like I I try to invest as much as, like, I think liquidity is quite important in how I manage cash. So I only do fixed deposits for the amount of money that I surely would not want to have. And for the rest, yeah, I think money market funds is a great alternate to retain the liquidity and still have quite competitive rates, because inherently I think money market funds are set up to do fixed deposits themselves, negotiate with the banks on a corporate level. So most of my, I would say, actually, from a liquidity perspective, wherever I need that liquidity, I would say actually 75% of that would be in money market funds and 25% more for the normal expenses on a monthly basis that I need. All right. Okay. Let's go then. Okay. So what tools generally I think are available and what we offer? So I think we'll go in this session, we'll go across all those three buckets, like now, soon, later, cash. And this will help you to understand, like, again, like how and what are the best ways to optimize these things. So okay, for now, cash, as I think all of us, like a lot of times we keep just in the savings account. And like one of the client, for example, was a great one. Like typically, means that client specifically works in an investment bank, and typically in Hong Kong tax regime, you pay the taxes on an annual basis, and he just means he knows the amount, he knows the time he wants to pay, but still he just keep that money in the bank until the January of next year. And this is like the perfect example where I think where we know we have some certainty around it, and it's not an emergency. Some of the other solutions are great to encash on. So yeah, so I think like a savings account versus a Syfe Cash Plus. I think so few things very important to flag here. I think the first one is yield. Like even in current environment where the external markets are normally are like 4.5-5% at least, the saving accounts gives you 1%, and some of them even gives lesser than that. While I think the Cash Plus, on the other hand, gives you 5.5%. And these are in US dollar numbers because our Cash Plus is in US dollars. So to compare apples to apples. But at the same time, I think from a liquidity perspective, Cash Plus doesn't kind of is completely on par with a savings account. You can get your cash back into your bank account the next day. So you don't lose much, but you significantly get an uptick on the interest that you earn on the cash that's sitting in the bank right now. Of course, one thing which is very important to flag, money, like we in the Syfe Cash Plus is built using like diversified money market funds, but by virtue of these money market funds set up, they don't enjoy the deposit protection scheme. So while a savings account is covered, but the money market funds are not. But having said that, like I think so a few things to flag. Money market funds are very heavily regulated regime under SFC. They have very stringent guidelines around what type of quality of assets they can invest into. To give an example, they cannot go more than 60 days of fixed deposits. They have a very diversification requirement, cannot have more than 10% in any of the banks. So by nature of it, like the money market funds we have picked are actually all the deposits are in offshore, US dollar, tier 1, tier 2 banks. So we do a heavy due diligence in understanding those things. So yes, it's not protected under deposit scheme, but I think the risk is extremely low because of the investments that they do is in shorter term fixed deposits and tier 2, tier 1 banks. Just to give a quick snapshot of effectively the benefits. Again, super attractive yield, and just to flag one more thing, I think the yield that we offer, and this is net number, is probably the highest in the market, having that under money market fund regime and having that liquidity. We see other digital brokers offering the yields which are easily 50, 60 bips lower than this, so sub 5%. And I mean, for us, again, given this is really a cash management solution, we don't even charge any management fee from our side to give the highest benefit to the clients like yourselves. The second thing is these things are daily accrued. The third thing, again, no minimum maximum. Again, some of the banks would have their conditions. The last thing, as I just mentioned, like completely zero management fee. Then we move to Soon Cash. I think this is an important one because some of these things are like you go into a domain where you have a bit more options at hand, fixed deposits and the inflation-linked bonds in Hong Kong. But again, like I think from a yield perspective, like we have an income plus solution where you're getting 6.5% versus the fixed deposits and the bonds are sub 5. The key thing here is, I think if you look at it like the type of kind of lock-in features, there's nothing at all. The asset class that we use is super heavily diversified. We'll go through, and I'm conscious of the time, so we'll quickly go through some of the other slides. Like here you see, like within the asset class, it's like more than 70% is in investment grade, with close to 40% in government related bonds. Geography, again, very well diversified. You look at the credit quality of the average portfolio is A-, like pretty much as good as it can get. So it kind of gives you a very good alternate to having fixed deposits or investing in I-bonds. And again, liquidity, super important. Still, you don't lose anything on your liquidity. Then I think we go to that later. And I think the key here is like you allow yourself for that asset pool to take more risks, because this is something you don't need it for next 2 years. Again, should ideally completely disassociate this cash pool versus your emergency funds or something which you need in near term. And as you allow yourself take more risk, the options that become, and again, this is the whole topic here is about cash savings. So we're not talking about investing into cryptos or digital assets or super high risk. So this is a cash alternate. You still want some yield. And for which we have like a second version of income plus solution, which is enhance. It currently gives a more than 8% gross yield. Again, super attractive compared to other bond funds and ETFs. And I'll go through a bit on how we differentiate as well. Like first, obviously, like it's a monthly payout and directly into your bank accounts, which none of the other products cater to. Then I think the funds that we pick are actively managed, and we even manage ourselves, keep a very close eye on overall market regime and everything, and we rebalance as and when needed. If not, at least semi-annually. There's a super important part about tax efficiencies. Like generally, if you're investing in ETFs and all, they are subject to at least 50%, if not 30% withholding tax for US. While us, these funds are domiciled and we optimize for those tax. And a lot of them have even 0% withholding tax. Then currency, again, like in the ETF domain, very few Hong Kong dominated products have decent liquidity. So the options that you're left with are US denominated. You're taking some FX risk there. And of course the implications of the tax. The last, but not the least, I think the most important, I think the fees. So compared to funds, I think we use like a typical bond fund would have at least 1.5%. We use institutional share class, and we'll show you in the slide forward, where we effectively negotiate. We work with the fund managers, and we get, as you can see, like 0.56%, which effectively gets you close to 1/3 of the cost that you typically would pay on a normal bond fund outside us. And at the same time, there's no subscription redemption type of fees. So again, a pretty good option while considering, and of course, like each of them has their pros and cons, but it at least allows you to invest into something for a bit longer and still maximize on that yield that you earn on your cash. So a quick snapshot again here, like even though that 8% plus, still the amount of kind of investment grade bonds is closer to 45%, so pretty much half. And here, just one thing to flag for this product is, and especially given it's a slightly longer dated, we allow and we ourselves build it to have a bit of multi-asset feature, so have a bit of that growth or capital appreciation. So you can see effectively that there is like close to 14% of under equities. And again, going by the perspective of something which you need a bit far down the line, should allow you to take a bit more risk there. And again, evenly spread across from a geography perspective. I think I'll skip this one. We have covered most of the stuff here. Yeah, so this, I think as I was talking about the fees and all, so like this is one of the most common question we typically get asked as we were comparing between funds, ETFs, and our income product, like how, and like when we claim that we have one of the cheaper options out there, people would want to know more numbers. So this is exactly the replication of one of our income portfolio, and the same, and like enhanced one. And you can see if you buy through a retail bank, the fees, that management fees that you pay is twice. Then there is subscription redemption fees that gets added on top, which can be anywhere between 1.5% to 3%. And some of them even charge like an admin fee or a switch fee if you want. It can easily go close to 5%. And we're not talking about like smaller retail banks, even the tier 1 retail banks charge these kind of things. So completely, this is like completely kind of there's a clear conflict in the pricing models that exist. Even if you go to a higher tier like a private bank, again, those numbers can easily go up to 4%. If assuming that you have a similar product which is discretionary managed, then there are some obviously digital platforms which have tried to minimize some of these costs, but still, I think they still charge 1.5%. The fund management fee, there's no negotiation, there is no institutional share class used. So if you compare clearly, like I think the amount of fees that's embedded in our product versus the rest that out there, there's a huge demarcation, and especially for income oriented products, I think every percent or even every 0.5% matters a lot when you're trying to optimize the yield on your cash. Okay, so I think we've covered like the now, soon, later, and some, like I think best to summarize using a case study. Martin?
Yeah, sure. So after you listen to some of the options that we can provide for different stage of your cash holdings, and then you may be confused of how you can manage all those things. Maybe this case study can give you some of the idea on how you can manage all those things by calculating those salary or expenses amount of case mentioned, as you can see from here. Assuming he has married with 1 kid and have a 2-room on flat under mortgage payment, and his gross salaries is per month is 60K Hong Kong dollar, and household expenses amount 20K Hong Kong dollar per month, mortgage payment 15K per month, which is quite I think it's quite similar background for some of the middle income class Hong Kong client, or maybe most of the client here has a higher gross salary too, but we calculate at a more passive and more conservative approach. And then you can see in this case, he has around annual cash saving 240K, and assuming he already got 3 months saving for emergency cash. Let's see how he managed that 240K annual saving right now. I guess it's also quite similar to some of the case for most of the Hong Kong people, as what I have also done before, knowing Syfe. We will put saving deposit in bank for some amount like 50K and then 150K in the fixed deposit in banks, and then leaving some idle cash for some emergency, very short-term emergency purpose. And you can see the yield right now, saving deposit in bank a bit higher than last year, 0.875% around this figure. Fixed deposit you can find in Hong Kong now, I think 4.5% is already at the upper limit. I say it at the upper limit. And the idle cash, maybe you put in the demand deposit, the check account maybe just 0.2% annual yield, and sum up all the figures with the annual cash saving, you will see every year you will got 7,200 something Hong Kong dollar, and it just average among 600 Hong Kong dollar per month. And the overall yield, if you divided the 7,200 dollar divided by the 240K Hong Kong dollar, you will have 3.03% over yield, 0.03% overall yield. But is it a good solution or a good method to optimize your cash saving? I would say after today's presentation, you will know there will be a better method by utilizing what Archie has mentioned on the different stage of managing your cash. And you will see if you utilize our approach on the now cash, soon cash, later cash approach, of course, the financial goal is different for different people. But if you just make it simpler, the now cash less than 6 months, soon cash 6 months to 24 months cash savings, and some left for a long-term investment, but with a safe option, you can do so by choosing the product inside, like for the now cash, just the cash plus, and then soon cash income pure, and later cash income enhanced. And the yield, you can see the overall yield, you can uplift a lot. If you just maybe you can change the figure right now for the now cash, maybe you can put less amount if you have more emergency cash save for your own option. And then the soon cash and later cash, we just split half, 90K for each category. And you can see for this case, we can uplift the whole amount from 7,200 to 16,500 Hong Kong dollar. That means the overall yield is a double to 6.9%. And the increase in the annual interest income from your cash savings is more than 9,000, which actually is not a small number if you consider just a safe option to optimize your cash.
And on the 240K amount.
Yeah. So that's how you can utilize our cash management solution inside, and then you can achieve a much more higher yield than what you can find outside in Hong Kong. Yeah, I would say there is still some this kind of solution you can find in Hong Kong. But as what we have mentioned in the last section, and the level of the fee you pay and the overall professional management you can get from our professional investment team, which are all from iBanks and hedge fund, it is quite different.
I think the last but not the least.
Yeah, we have also a very good exclusive offer for all clients coming here today, and we have a very large mandatory 6 months of fee waiver on our Income Plus. If you invest over 500K to us, then we can give you a fee waiver on 6 months, and I think it would be a very large magnitude of discount that you can find in Hong Kong, because yeah, it's just like from our standpoint, which is just 0.5% management fee, but you can have a very large deduction to 0.25% if you're paying 0.5% after counting in the 6 month fee waiver. So I think, yeah, it is only to for those coming to today's webinars plan. So you can yeah, obviously you can take a look and then see how to invest, and using the invitation code we shown here. Of course, before you invest, you can consult to us. And the other promotion we are doing is the Syfe Ambassador Program, which means that if for existing clients here, you want to invite some of the friends coming to join us to invest to our solution, because you feel good about investing here, you think the solution can help you, and also you want your friend also get help from our cheaper but professional solution. For each successful referral, you can receive up to very large amount of reward, 1,200 Hong Kong dollar. And yeah, there is some terms and conditions apply here, but yeah, you can definitely talk to us for how to achieve this reward by inviting your friends come to us.
Okay, thanks everyone for joining. Hope you enjoyed the session. And yeah, as Martin was saying, means we are available anytime, and feel free to reach out if any more questions. All right, have a good day.
Thanks.